The church was silent. Every eye turned toward the young woman in the wheelchair, her trembling hands clutching a bouquet of white roses that looked as fragile as her heart. The groom, her childhood sweetheart, took one look at her and turned away. "I can't do this," he muttered, his voice echoing in the vast hall. Gasps rippled through the guests as he dropped the ring and walked out, leaving her broken before the altar. That was the day Aisha Malik, 27, learned how cruel the world could be. Once, Aisha had been full of dreams. She'd loved to dance in the rain, run through the fields, and believed in love that healed. But one tragic night, everything changed. On her way home from work, a truck swerved off the road and hit her car. The accident crushed her spine, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. Doctors told her she'd never walk again. Friends drifted away, and the man who once promised to love her, in sickness and in health, slowly stopped answering her calls. By the time her wedding day came, she already sensed something was wrong, but she never imagined he'd leave her at the altar. That night, in the quiet of her small rented room, she stared at her reflection, smudged mascara, wilted roses, and a wedding dress she had saved for months to buy. Who would ever love a broken woman? She whispered. For months, Aisha lived in isolation. Her parents had passed away years before, and with her disability, finding a job was nearly impossible. She sold homemade candles online to survive, her heart aching every time she saw couples holding hands or brides taking pictures in white gowns. One day, while waiting outside a rehabilitation center for her therapy appointment, she noticed a small boy struggling to tie his shoelace. His father, tall, tired-looking, maybe in his mid-30s, was juggling grocery bags and a phone call. Without thinking, Aisha rolled closer. "May I?" she asked softly. The man looked startled but nodded gratefully. With steady hands, she tied the little boy's shoe, smiling at him. "There you go, young man. All set to conquer the world." The boy grinned, his dimples deep. "Thanks, Auntie." The man smiled for the first time. "You're a lifesaver. I'm Zane, by the way. And this little tornado is Ari's." That small act of kindness became the start of something neither of them expected. Over the next few weeks, they often ran into each other at the center. Zane was a single dad, his wife had passed away from cancer 2 years ago. He worked as a mechanic, often bringing Aris along to therapy sessions because he couldn't afford childcare. Aisha and Aris became fast friends. They drew pictures together while Zane attended family counseling sessions. Aris, in his innocent way, began calling her Auntie Sunshine. Zane admired her quiet strength. Despite her struggles, Aisha never complained. She laughed easily, encouraged others in therapy, and had a way of making even pain seem temporary. One day, after therapy, he found her struggling to get her wheelchair up a small ramp. Without hesitation, he rushed to help. "I can manage," she said stubbornly, her voice strained. "I know," he replied gently, "but you don't have to do everything alone." That single sentence pierced something deep in her. No one had said that to her since the accident. As months passed, their bond deepened. Zane began dropping by her small home, fixing her wheelchair, helping with errands, and sometimes just bringing dinner. Aris adored her, her stories, her laughter, and her warmth. But society wasn't kind. When neighbors saw Zane spending time with a disabled woman, whispers began. "She's trapping him," someone said. "He pities her. It'll never last," another added. Even Aisha began to pull away, afraid of being a burden. One evening, she told Zane, "You should stop visiting. People are talking. I don't want to ruin your reputation." Zane looked at her for a long time before speaking. "Aisha, when I met you, I saw someone braver than anyone I know. Aris sees you as family. And I see you as the reason I smile again." Her heart raced. "Zane, you deserve someone whole." He knelt beside her wheelchair, eyes steady. "You are whole, Aisha. You just don't see it yet." Still, fear lingered in her heart. Until one day, Aris fell seriously ill with pneumonia. Zane was working late when Aisha heard the news. Despite heavy rain, she rushed to the hospital in her wheelchair, soaking wet, determined to be there. When Zane arrived, he found her holding Aris's hand, whispering stories to keep him calm. She stayed all night, the nurse told him. At that moment, he realized, this woman, despite everything she'd lost, had more love to give than anyone he'd ever known. A few weeks later, Zayn invited her to a small park where Aries was playing. She noticed something strange, a small group of people, flowers, and candles arranged beautifully on the grass. Zayn turned to her and smiled nervously. "You once told me no one would ever love a broken woman. But I see someone who taught me how to live again." He knelt before her, holding a small ring. "Aisha Malik, will you let me love you for the rest of my life?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Zayn, are you sure?" Aries ran up, grinning. "Please say yes, Auntie Sunshine. I want you to be my mom." She broke down crying. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes. Their wedding was small but filled with warmth. No designer gown, no grand hall, just a garden, laughter, and the sound of hope returning. Aisha rolled down the aisle, her veil flowing in the wind, while Zayn waited with tears in his eyes. This time, she wasn't a bride abandoned, she was a woman loved for her soul. Years later, Aisha ran a small NGO helping women with disabilities find jobs and confidence. Zayn supported her dream, while Aries proudly told everyone, "My mom's a hero." And whenever someone asked how they met, Aisha would smile and say, "It started with a shoelace, and a man who saw beyond my wheelchair."